This is Open Door with Vince Robinson. In-depth conversations with people who are making a difference in the lives of others here and around the world. Culture is at the heart of who you are. Know your culture, find yourself on Open Door with Vince Robinson.
Great dawn and grand rising, Cleveland and the rest of the planet. Welcome to another edition of Open Door with Vince Robinson. My guest is Judy Payne. She is the founder of Goods Bank Northeast Ohio, where you can stretch your impact. And we're going to find out all about that and more as we continue. Welcome to Open Door, Judy.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, I'm glad to have you, and I'm actually glad to also spread the word about what you are doing. So tell us about Goods Bank Northeast Ohio.
So the Goods Bank is a resource center designed, dedicated to helping local nonprofits, schools, faith-based organizations do more with their funds. Our goal is to help them help others in the community. So we provide new product donated by national retailers, and we either offer it for free or at nominal cost to organizations. They then come, they access the goods, they can use it for their operations, for their programs, or to give to those in need.
Okay. And so talk to us about the goods that you are dealing with.
So this has been one of those things that has exceeded my expectations. We've been open for a little over a year, serving 225 different agencies. And so all of them need different things, from clothes to sporting goods to holiday supplies, party decorations, home goods, personal care items, and of course toys right now are incredibly popular. Our shelves are running bare on that. But so really we have a lot of everything. The only thing that we don't offer would be food or medicine.
Okay. And where do you acquire these things from?
So it's interesting. Initially, we were affiliated and remain affiliated with a national organization called Good 360. So Good 360 has relationships with Amazon, Home Depot, Nike, Carter's, Eddie Bauer, and the list goes on and on. So much of what we get, we are able to access either by the truck, by the pallet, by the case from them. But we've expanded beyond that to add local sources, the Sherwin-Williams, Rise Homes, different local manufacturers that have offered us goods to share with the community, and other nonprofits, larger nonprofits as well.
Okay. And you deal with a lot of nonprofits. They can apply for membership. Talk about how they can get involved in your efforts.
So it's really so easy. All they have to do is go to our website, goodsbankneo.org, and follow the link that says to join. What we require are just a few things. We want to vet our members to make sure that they are indeed tax exempt and have been around for a couple of years. They have to make a couple promises to us. They have to promise never to monetize our goods, resell them, or use them to make money in any way through raffles or silent auctions. And they also have to promise not to do shopping for personal use. Everything we have is really to give to the community, to lift up those who need a little help, and to do it in a really dignified way, because everything we offer is new and often brands that might not otherwise be available to them.
Okay. And you also are looking for assistance with your warehouse through volunteer work. Could you talk about that? Yes, please.
We sure are. So imagine this. We have in about a year distributed $2.5 million worth of product. So that product comes in and somehow has to make its way to the shelves. And volunteers are really the engine behind making that happen. They help sort, price, stock our product, keep the shelves organized, so that when the agency representatives come to look for what they want, it's easier for them to find it. So yes, we need volunteers, and we're expanding. We're growing. So if we want to continue to serve the community in the best way possible, we need to make sure our shelves are stocked and organized, and that's going to require more and more volunteers.
Okay. So if someone is interested in becoming a volunteer, what would the process be?
Again, we try and make everything easy. All they have to do is go to our website, goodsbankneo.org, follow the link that says Get Involved, and there is a volunteer schedule. Shifts are typically a couple hours a week. We're open Monday through Friday, and I think it's really fun. So hopefully folks can give it a shot, and if it doesn't, if it doesn't fill their soul, they can move on and find something else worthwhile to do. Yes, there are a couple other things I want to share with you. Early on, I had the opportunity to get used furniture. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. We need it for our office. But at the time I thought, you know what? What about all those organizations that need used furniture that don't have access? So we created something and launched it called the Goods Bank NEO Resource Exchange. And it's an online marketplace where entities, whether they be businesses or organizations, can both offer items, both used and new, for free or for a fee, and they can claim those items. And it doesn't cost anything to register. We just launched it, so it's going to take a while to gain some traction. But my hope is that when businesses are thinking about downsizing or remodeling or upgrading their technology, this can be a place they can offer it so that some of the smaller nonprofits can have access to things that they might not otherwise have access to.
Yeah, that sounds like a really great idea. And so you say you're developing the website now so that you'll be able to post those items?
It's up. It's on our website. Information about it is, again, you just go to our website and follow the link that says Resource Exchange. What I can tell you is more nonprofits are listed at the moment than offerings. So it's gonna take a while to get some traction where there's both givers and takers, But I hope it will grow because I really feel like it's going to meet a need that's not currently being met.
Mm-hmm. You can also get involved by donating goods. Can you talk about the kinds of things that you're looking for and how folks can facilitate that part of your program?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So we typically, what we have, we get in quantity. So typically it would be only new products, typically offered by a business that's either closing or downsizing or remodeling, actually only new stuff. And however, there's such a huge need for cleaning supplies and hygiene items, feminine care items, baby diapers, that if new product like that was donated, we would make sure that we made it available to our members for free. I'm proud to say that this year, we've distributed 4 truckloads of cleaning supplies and hygiene items that we made available for free to our members because there's such a desperate need. Additionally, so folks can donate those kinds of things. Money, of course, is the best because then we can access stuff in volume if we need to make available to the community, which is something that we've begun to do. When I've heard repeatedly that folks need socks, I surveyed our members and determined that if we were able to offer socks at the right price for them, it warranted getting them wholesale, a pallet of them, which just means spread across organizations. All of them are saving money because we've identified a need and we're meeting it. So there's really a lot of ways to help, and it just kind of depends on the person and what drives them.
Okay. Well, typically we don't talk about money on the programmer on the station because it's not a commercial station. It's a community radio station. So we really don't want to do any advertising. But I'm looking at your brochure and I can see what various amounts of money can do for the organization. For example, you mentioned socks. And for $100, you could acquire 175 pairs of socks. Just, in the interest of transparency, I will say that I met you at a giving circle at Riddall that was facilitated by a good friend, Jan Thrope. And there were asks that took place during that event. And one of those things was socks. And it was also mentioned that the socks aren't just used to cover someone's feet. The socks actually have other uses. So, when you think about something as, I don't want to say trivial, but something as simple as a sock, it could go a long way towards making the difference in someone's life. Just looking at some of the other figures that you have, $250 could buy 50 pillows, $500 an assortment of toys for more than 100 kids, $1,000 to $2,000 could get you, $1,000 could get you 2,800 tubes of toothpaste. $2,500 could help sponsor a shopping day for a nonprofit member to bring clients to shop for what they need. And then there's the $4,000 to $5,000 level sponsor transportation, plus donated goods valued at $150,000 or more. So it looks like that you could do the simplest thing, and that is perhaps write a check, and it would have a tremendous impact.
Exactly. One of the things that gives me such joy and is such a privilege is that day in and day out, we hear from our members about the ways that we're helping such a diverse array of folks in our community, from refugees to those who are unhoused, living on the streets, to those who are in recovery, those who are foster kids or victims of domestic violence. And in all of those cases, what to us may be a small thing can be incredibly meaningful. And for me personally, as a full-time volunteer founding this organization, it is a joy, it's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to be able to help in the ways that we are.
Yes. Well, again, just referencing the visuals that you've given us, I'm looking at the aspect of you can send something to a landfill or you can give it a new life to someone who needs that item and can benefit greatly from it. So I think it's a great endeavor that you have initiated. And you said that you've been around for about a year?
Yeah. Yep. September 2022 is when we opened.
Okay. What was the catalyst for you starting?
Well, I co-founded the Cleveland Kids Book Bank. So I don't know if you're familiar with the book bank, but I co-founded that organization, and that one's designed to make sure that all children not only have access to books, but own them, have them in their homes. And I started that organization, ran that organization, retired in 2019. And I like to say I failed retirement because I ran into this opportunity to become a redistribution partner of Good 360. There were 80 of them across the United States, organizations that brought in truckloads of new goods and made them available to other nonprofits. 80 of them across the United States and none in Cleveland, which I couldn't understand. It just made no sense to me. So my initial strategy was to look for other nonprofits that could take it on, that I could help get it off the ground and they would have the capacity to keep running it. And I failed. So finally I just threw up my hands and I said, you know what? This is important. It needs to happen. And if nobody else is going to make it happen, I guess I'm going to have to do it. So here we are. And it's moving right along.
Okay. Well, Judy,
lots of help, but it's happening.
Okay. Well, Judy Payne, I want to thank you for what you're doing for the Cleveland community. Obviously, if there is a need and you are helping to fulfill that need. If folks are interested, they can go to goodsbankneo.org. That's www.goodsbankneo.org. goodsbankneo.org, and you can get involved in any of the ways that we have suggested to you, either joining, volunteering, donating funds, donating goods, many things that you can do, and you can also make a difference. Thank you for joining me on Open Door.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you. Open Door with Vince Robinson will be right back, right here on 95.9 FM WOVU, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
Ohio, a new choice for Medicaid is here. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. The name you can trust because we're the plan that plans on everything. From 3 a.m. fevers to life-saving medicines to care wherever you need it, even the unexpected. We've been caring for Ohioans for over 80 years. So choose Anthem for your Medicaid plan. Visit anthemohio.com today.
This was brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield Insurance and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our voices united. Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
Hi, this is Tammy Payton, the CEO and founder of Pillars to Success Incorporated. You are listening to 95.9 FM WOVU, Our Voices United, Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
Welcome back to Open Door with Vince Robinson. I have been joined by Teralawanda Aaron. She's the president and CEO of the SPOT Youth Empowerment Organization. They are doing some meaningful things in the city of Cleveland that deal with youth. She's just explained a few of them to me, and I've been blown away by the depth of what they are doing. So I'm going to give her a chance to tell us all about the SPOT Youth Empowerment Organization and the various activities they're involved in. I know there is something called Project Warm, and in the past week, they have been collecting donations, but now they're moving towards how they can get those out. So we'll talk about that, as well as the Ambassador Project and the things that they're doing to create civic engagement by young people. Welcome to Open Door, Teralawanda.
Thank you, Vince, for having me. We are always happy to be on Open Door. We love your show and what you do. So thank you so much for having us.
I'm really happy. That's a new word. I'm glad and happy. We just created a new word, glappy.
Yes.
But Teralawanda, did you by chance go to Kent State University?
So I did briefly do a small amount of work at Kent State. I did.
Okay. That's how I know you, I think, because you have a very unique name. So Teralawanda is something that has been with me for some time, but I just seem to remember at once upon a time you were walking the hallowed grounds of Kent State University.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell us about the genesis of the SPOT Youth Empowerment Organization. Why did you decide that this was something that you needed to do?
Well, the SPOT Youth Empowerment Organization has been around since 2007. And we know in the early to late 1990s and early 2000s, drugs hit our community really hard. And because of that, a lot of our young people suffer because they didn't have role models and parents in the household to kind of facilitate what they needed to have in order for them to have a protective outcome as they grew and transitioned from teen to adulthood. And also, I was a young person, so I know how headstrong I was. I know having a good support system and somebody behind me that told me when I needed to know to be successful was important to me. And I also see the disconnect with the elders and the young people, which makes it difficult for them sometimes to grasp everything that they need. And so I had that information. I had worked in the school system and as a community leader and organizer for years. And I decided to take all of that information that I had and do something to help the young people in our communities.
So you obviously saw a need, and it seems like some of the things that you are doing are filling in the gaps left by parents not being present in their children's lives and doing things to equip them to succeed without the benefit of parental involvement.
Right. Well, not just parental involvement, right? Because the kids, they suffer with a lot of things. So parental is just one thing, but we have shortcomings in the school system. We have shortcomings in the communities that lack recreational support and educational supports. So there's a lot of gaps that has been left for our young people. And unfortunately, we just need more people on the front line. Now, not to say that there is not a lot of programs out here and not a lot of programs that's doing the work. There are, but part of the problem is that the kids are not always connected to those entities. And a lot of times they're offered to the kids that's doing really well or really poorly. The kids in the middle sometimes get overlooked because there's not an immediate need. They're doing okay, so hey, they're fine. But all our kids need our support. And so that's where we try to come in and help along with others in the community to fill the gaps.
Okay. So talk about what those needs are for those folks that are in the middle.
So the folks that are in the middle and top and bottom as well, because a lot of times just doing well doesn't mean that you have it all together. You still need support. And so those stem from food and basic resources to education and knowledge of how to move from high school to college, how to get your first home, how to do a budget, how to credit, about civic engagement, voting, the responsibilities of government, and your responsibility as a citizen to the community. And so that leads us into our ambassador program. So our program is countywide, and we actually go into the communities to administer our program. So we're in neighborhoods where we have partners, and we go all around the city of Cleveland and surrounding suburbs, taking our programming to those locations. But as we go to take our programming to the neighborhood, we recruit the kids in those neighborhoods to be our ambassadors. When they become ambassadors, they get hands-on with the spot, and that's how we work them from their teens to adults. So once they become that ambassador, they get more personalized training. In the community, you get general training. You can take our workshops, and you can learn about budgeting, and you can take our financial literacy, or you can be in our jobs program or our voting program. You can do all of those. But to be personal, hands-on, and where we develop you from the beginning to the end, that's when you join our ambassador program. So, and that's extensive training. They do 6 months to become an ambassador, training to become an ambassador. Once they become an ambassador, they are ambassador for a year. And that ambassadorship, it takes them all around the city. They interact with other leaders. They get all kind of training, self-development, leadership, community organizing. They get opportunities to teach. They get opportunities to develop programs with our partners. So there's a lot of hands-on that goes on with our ambassadors, and we seek to make all of the kids ambassadors when we come into the communities.
It's really interesting when you talked about some of the things that you're focused on. It just seems to me that your program is filling the void that's left by traditional education. You talk about financial literacy and some of the other things, having a budget, the importance of good credit, perhaps home ownership, just
Absolutely.
Other things that they should be teaching in the schools, but they're not. The other thing that really resonates with me is just the idea of developing leadership. When you talk about ambassadors and you give them a 6-month training program, you equip them to be leaders in their own respective spheres of influence. I think that's a really powerful model to engage because it does make a difference in our communities.
And we're actually seeing that take root and actually working. Our lead ambassador right now, he's 24. He works for the tax department. He's a homeowner, and he leads out, and he's influencing every youth that's underneath him. What a person to put out in front. He's a young black man. And he's doing really well. We have an ambassador, one of our alumni. She's been a graduate. She's graduating. She's been with us since she's been 14. We've been able to put her down at Friendly Inn. She's been a summer counselor for the last 4 years. Again, we have two young ladies that were been counselors down at Friendly Inn for the last 2 years. One, she is a sophomore at the Cleveland School of Arts. So these young people are doing really good things already on their own, but they're also taking the information that they have and that they're learning and influencing other young people, which is important, right? Because if you do not know the rules of engagement, you cannot be successful if you don't know what it is you need to do to be successful, if that makes sense. So it's just common sense, and it's just giving them what we all needed to succeed, right? And it's just putting it together for them in a way that they can understand, and giving it to them with a loving hand so that they're able to receive it.
Mm-hmm. So you've talked about the Ambassador Project, but you also mentioned civic engagement. Can you give us a little bit more on what that looks like and how you're facilitating that?
So 2 years ago, we started our civic engagement program. So we are in each neighborhood, again, going from neighborhood to neighborhood, and we do a workshop called Youth Empowerment. Voter Empowerment Series. This is a 5-hour workshop. They get branches of government and their rights and responsibilities. They get how to research candidates and issues, how to register to vote, and the voting laws, and lastly, how to cast their ballots, so how to actually fill out this. Within that class, the Board of Elections is there. They teach register to vote. And they also register anybody in our class 18 to 25, because our target audience is 14 to 25. So anybody 18 to 25 is automatically registered in that class. And anybody 17 to 25 can fill out an application to work at the Board of Elections. So we also take applications for employment in this workshop. Within this workshop, they're given breakfast and lunch, and we also give them a $50 cash stipend at the end of the class. They don't have to wait for this. They get it in cash, not a card or anything like that. They get cash that they walk out of the class with. And once they take this class, they only need to take one of our workshops or one of our classes, and that qualifies them to register for an ambassador.
Oh, that's amazing. So there's some money in it for them, but there's also what goes along with being equipped to cast your vote and make a difference in that perspective. That's really quite commendable.
So we also, this year, we got funded again by St. Luke's, but we also picked up Cleveland Votes and PB Cleve. And so we extended our training to include initiatives and addendums. So this year, our students got a chance to see how initiatives are written, how they are placed on the ballot, how they vote, and the turnout. So they got to see a whole initiative play out right in front of them and see the outcome. I thought that was invaluable. We thank PB Cleve for giving us the chance to have our young people see that curriculum in real time. And so we're moving forward to do more of that initiative training. So that's part 2 of the series, the initiative in the addendums portion.
Okay, I want to talk to you about what you just mentioned with PB Clee, because there's an ongoing controversy about that. And we'll also talk about your summer jobs program. We'll do that when we return. This is Open Door with Vince Robinson on 95.9 FM WOVU. My guest is Teralawanda Aaron, President, CEO of the Spot Youth Empowerment Organization. We'll be right back on this Burton Belcar Community Radio Station right after this.
What's happening, Cleveland? This is Detective Felton Collier, and I am the lead public safety recruiter for the City of Cleveland's Department of Public Safety. Interested in a job with fantastic pay and benefits? How about a change from day-to-day office life? Look no further, because Cleveland's Division of Police is now accepting applications for police officer. Why not enter the exciting field of law enforcement? We are constantly changing and progressing for the benefit of our communities. The Division of Police offers up to a $5,000 sign-on bonus. The academy pay is almost $25 per hour, and there is also tuition reimbursement for those who have completed the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy. Plus, if you are a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces and or hold a college degree, you can receive additional salary incentives. Call 216-623-5233 to speak with our recruiters, or go to clevelandohio.gov/jobs and apply today. Join our team.
This message is brought to you by the Cleveland Safety Department and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burton Belcar community radio station.
Welcome back to Open Door with Vince Robinson and my conversation with Teralawanda Aaron, President and CEO of the Spot Youth Empowerment Organization. She's just described to us their ambassador project. She's talked to us about how they're getting young folks involved in civic engagement, and she mentioned involvement in PB Clee. For the benefit of the listeners, can you talk about exactly what that is and what the role was that your folks played in it?
So PB Cleave was an initiative that looked to take 2% of the city's budget and give it to the people to decide how it should be spent. One of the reasons why we were targeted from PB Cleave, because they looked to include voices from people 13 plus, which would include our young people, a target of 14 to 25. And so this was an opportunity. One of the reasons why I agreed to come on board, and it wasn't because I agreed or disagreed with PB Cleave, but PB Cleave was a chance to show our young people what democracy looked like and how to fight for what you believed in for your community. So this was an opportunity for them to see it play out in real time. And so we did a couple things with PB Cleave. So first of all, we got a chance to be in the room as they worked with the legal team to develop the language for the charter amendment. And then as they went out and collected signatures, our adult ambassadors paired up with our youth ambassadors, and they went out and were part of the signature campaign and some of the promotional pieces that they did. And then at the end, they were able to see how the Board of Elections counts the signatures and certifies the signatures that were collected to get the amendment on the ballot. So we were there for the whole process. And like I said, they got to see it in real time, how it started, what the requirements was, what had to be done, and then what the outcome was after all of the work was completed. So it was huge for us as an organization and for the kids as well.
You know, it's interesting because the initiative failed by a very small margin. Was there any, I guess, celebration or acknowledgement of the fact that the work that they did really does have the potential to make a difference?
Absolutely. Again, we have to thank PB Cleave. They are one of the ones that that work with our young people, they made sure to give them praise, acknowledgement. They rewarded them. They gave them a luncheon, and it was really, really nice how they really made the young people feel welcomed and a part of the work that was being done. And that went a really long way, because that made them stand up and feel good about what they were doing, whether they agreed or didn't agree with it. They just felt like they were a part of something bigger than themselves, and that made them just go really, really hard. And they were really proud of what they were able to accomplish, and I was just as proud as them.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about the level of engagement. How many young people are you working with, and where are they coming to you from?
So they come from the neighborhoods. So right now we have 12 ambassadors on our team. And I think monthly we may engage maybe a few hundred kids a month or something like that. This is Project Warm Time, so probably thousands. We go into the schools and engage. So it just depends on what program we're working on, how many youth that we touch. If it's a bigger program, sometimes thousands. If it's a smaller program, sometimes hundreds. Sometimes it may just be a class and it be maybe 15 or 20. So it just depends on what we're doing.
Okay. And you mentioned Project Warm, and I know that's something that's kind of wrapping up as the collection effort winds down. What are you collecting? I mean, how could you talk about the I guess the depth of your collection effort, and how many people you're able to reach with it?
Oh, sure. So we've been doing Project Warm for the past 7 years. And what we do is we partner with businesses, churches, and organizations, and we ask them to take our collection boxes, and we do a collection drive. And that normally starts in September, and we start putting boxes in October. We collect through to December. In November, we start the giveaway. So we work with Say Yes, MyCom, the Cleveland Metropolitan School Districts. We work with the aged out foster care, group homes, and daycares. And we go back in and we give hats and gloves and socks to the kids and the children in the neighborhoods and the communities. And so the schools or the daycares, they call us and they register with us, and we go out and we take hats and gloves. They give us a count and they tell us how many children they have or students or, rooms filled. And we just go out and take hats, gloves, socks, blankets to the infants and make sure everybody is warm. A warm child is a happy child is our title.
Yes. Well, I think it's important to point out that there are a lot of similar initiatives. And so from my perspective, I just know that there are a lot of folks out there who recognize that there are issues in our society that need to be addressed that aren't fully being taken care of by the government. We always think that the government is supposed to take care of us, but it only goes so far. So I just want to congratulate you and give you your flowers as you engage in this very important work, and it just goes along with what others are doing to definitely make a difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our communities already suffer and already behind, and it takes so very little to give. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Sometimes a smile or a hug or a conversation sometimes is all these young people need. And so if we could be the grown-ups in the room and just talk to our young people, we'll find that they'll respond in ways that we never thought they would if we would just reach out.
Yes.
So I encourage everybody, it is the holiday season. Pass by an adult, pass by a kid. You see somebody's, just say hi, just reach out to somebody. You never know, you might be saving a life. These kids are almost suicidal. You don't people don't really realize the trauma these kids are really in. Everybody look at the news. Oh, these kids is bad. They terrible. I don't want to be around them. I just don't want to be deal with them. It's too hard. They too violent. They too this. They too that. But these kids are suffering. And this is our next generation. And if we do not do something now, we are in a peril. If we do not do something now, more of our kids are going to die. More of them are going to go to adult prisons. More of them are going to be in foster care. So we just got to do what we can in our space.
Yes, and to to support what you're saying, when you give young people something meaningful to do, it keeps them away from doing things that are not in their best interest. So, the idea that you may have a couple hundred children engaged in some type of activity over a period of time really is it's just personally rewarding to know that these things are happening. And, one of the important things to me is to just communicate the fact that these kinds of things exist. Because as you pointed out, when folks think about our young folk, they always default to the negative without realizing that there are so many young people who have positive thoughts, who have positive dreams and aspirations and visions and want to do something that is going to make a difference in the world.
Yes, Vince, you got it. And so hopefully one by one, we can start breaking down that narrative and start a new culture with our young people right here in Cleveland, Ohio, right here, changing people's minds about our kids, because these kids belong to us. These are ours, so we have to take care of our babies. So let's start today. And if anybody is interested in working with the Spot, partnering with the Spot, talking to me, I'm always available. You can call me 216-323-6049. You'll reach me directly. That's 323-6049. You can also go see what we're doing and see what neighborhoods we're in by visiting our website. It's thespotYEO.com, the Spot, SPOT, YEO.com. We look forward to working with anybody. If you have a young person, you want to get them activated, please sign them up at our website. Come out and see what we're doing.
Okay, so you've given us all the information that we need. I want to get to what you have coming up for the month of January, because we talked about a couple of things. One is a summer jobs program.
Yeah, so we will start recruiting for summer jobs starting in January. So look for us around the communities. Again, you can also register at our website, thespotYEO.com. And we'll be registering anyone 14 to 18. So please look us up.
Okay. And any other January programs you want to mention?
So we are recruiting for ambassadors. So if your young people are interested, you have a young person that you want to get activated in the community, you want to get started on some looking for college funds or jobs or even getting their own place, give us a call.
Yes, that's amazing. So we got jobs, we got civic engagement, we've got these ambassadors that are doing phenomenal work. I mean, you mentioned the brother that's 24 years old. I'd really like to have a conversation with him because I know he has a lot to share. And I also just want to point out the importance of this intergenerational paradigm that you've created. Young folks in many ways are kind of disconnected from the elders, and the elders are disconnected from the young folk. And the truth of the matter is we can both learn from each other.
Yes.
So the communication between the two is vitally important, and it seems as though what you've created is a paradigm that will involve and allow for intergenerational engagement.
Well, that's our hope. And so, again, I'm hoping that some of my fellow seniors come on board and work with us as we engage our youth and show them that we have something to offer and that life can be so much better than what they see today. There is hope out here for us all.
Okay. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you, Teralawanda Aaron, President and CEO of the Spot Youth Empowerment Organization. Thank you for what you do, and we will continue to keep our eyes open for the progress that's being made by your great organization right here in Cleveland.
Thank you.
All right. Open Door with Vince Robinson. We'll be back with more on this Burton Bell Carr Community Radio Station, 95.9 FM, WOVU. Back in a few.
Ohio, a new choice for Medicaid is here. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the name you can trust because we're the plan that plans on everything, from 3 a.m. fevers to life-saving medicines. So choose Anthem for your Medicaid plan. Visit anthemohio.com today.
This was brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield Insurance and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our voices united. Burton Bell Carr Community Radio.
Welcome back to Open Door with Vince Robinson. I have been joined by Barbara Anderson. She is the founder of Another Chance of Ohio. Welcome to Open Door, Barbara.
Well, thank you so much, Vince. It is indeed a pleasure to be here with you and with your great audience.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and I just think it's important to shine the light on folks who are doing meaningful things in Cleveland, and here you are. So tell us about Another Chance of Ohio.
Okay, and it's good because I can tell you about that. I know a little bit about Another Chance of Ohio since I am the founder, and I serve as the chairperson also. But Another Chance of Ohio makes available to people in need anything that has been donated to us. So that's clothing, furniture, appliances. We've even had 2 boats donated to us, which we made available to people, again, for free. So it's like a Goodwill that doesn't charge, or a Goodwill or Salvation Army. We don't charge. You make an appointment, and you come in, and you shop.
Okay. I've actually.
So it's a real simple process. You just make an appointment, come in, and shop.
Yes.
Now, after the first of the year, we also will be asking you to bring a photo ID, and that would just help us identify you. We're not sharing your information with anyone, but it helps us, especially if you've made a special request. We can contact you and let you know that we have it, and you're next in line for it.
Mm-hmm. So talk to us about why you decided to create this organization.
Well, Another Chance of Ohio is birthed like a lot of other nonprofits. It's birthed out of my own personal need. I had my sister, who was struggling to live with cancer, decided it was easier just to go on to heaven, and so she did. But she left behind 4 children, and I had 4 children. So now we have a household of 8. Then my husband, me, and him, that's a household of 10. And it became very difficult. Even though we both were working, it became very difficult to supply everything that was needed for our family. And I started going out, and I knew I needed beds, and everybody told me where to go to get the cheap beds out, Salvation Army. But when you multiply things by 8, it becomes kind of pricey. It becomes where you may have some difficulty. And so what I did is I was driving around in the neighborhood, and I actually saw something that looked like it would fit in my house quite well. And at that time, it was a dresser. That was my first piece. And so I put it in my truck, brought it home, and so now we had a dresser. But then I started doing it even more often, and I found bed frames and dressers and end tables and all of those kinds of things. And people would come in my house and just marvel at how beautiful it was. And they would ask me, where did I get it? And I said, well, basically off the street. They would say, if you ever see something that can fit in my house because I'm looking for a table, please get it. And I started doing it from my neighbors. And so it went from me to my neighbors. It went from my house to the basement, then to the church, and now we have the free store. Because I had promised God after my sister's death that if I was ever in a position to provide for people something for free, that's what I would do. And so that's what I've done. I've kept my promise.
That's really amazing, and it really speaks to what people do when they see a need and they decide that they want to do something about it. So I congratulate you for taking that initiative. I'm just wowed by the fact that somebody actually donated a boat, and now somebody else has a boat that might be sitting in storage right now, but ready to
That's
take.
True. Well, we actually
have
a call for somebody who has a sailboat, and so she's going to see what she can do in order to make sure we get that. But we took the boat, and even though at the time I had no idea what we were going to do with it, but what happened is that we actually donated one of them to a school that worked on motors and all of those kinds of things, and the other one went to a nonprofit where this gentleman was teaching young boys how to fish. He thought fishing was such a relaxing way, the waters, the curve, and everything, and he decided to take the boat, and he repaired that boat, and so it went on to provide an opportunity for our young men to learn how to fish.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I don't know what I'll do with the sailboat, though.
Well, there might be somebody out there that's always wanted to have a sailboat, and maybe this will be their way to connect with that reality.
And that would be just fine with us. And so my daughter kind of coined the phrase when people ask, what do we take? She lets them know we take everything from buttons to boats, because we've had all of that.
So talk to us about some of the programs that you have in progress right now.
Well, we highlight our gentlemen who are in need of housing, veterans, and we do help provide housing for veterans, for females who are working through an abusive situation, and most recently with foster care, those children who have aged out of foster care. And so we help with that, providing housing and then the transition on to either work or school. We have a partnership with Case Western, where if we have a person in foster care that actually meets the qualifications, can pass the test, they can go to school with a scholarship, so tuition free. And they will even help them find a job. So we're very happy about that partnership. But on Saturday, we will have our toy giveaway, and actually it's a whole lot more than just toys, but we call it our holiday giveaway. And so those will include toys and clothes and housewares and hygiene products. Those will include everything that we have, and all of those things that we give on that day are new.
Okay, well, we'll
those
have
are things that we have.
Yeah, we'll have to qualify that, because when this airs, that will have already happened. But after it happens, there's going to be a lot of happy folks with what they received.
Yes, that's true. Okay, well, that's what will have happened, and yes, there will be a lot of happy people after that event.
Okay. Just want to dive a little bit deeper into the foster care piece and talk about what the needs of those who have aged out of foster care are.
Usually, it's the most I guess defining need is housing. But even those who can find housing, they're still in need of, let me say, first of all, love and care. Okay. But there's also other things that they need. Sometimes they have housing, but maybe they need a microwave because maybe there's not a house there. Maybe they need a bed or a bed frame or mattresses or those kinds of things. But they always will need hygiene products for themselves and hygiene products, cleaning products, and paper products. Those are the most needed by our youth. And I won't even talk about the clothing, but yeah, there are times when they will need clothing, and that's hurtful when you're a young person and you have nothing, and you leave foster care with nothing. When you leave foster care, you have usually whatever you have is in a paper or plastic bag. So we even try to provide, and we save our suitcases so that when they do have to leave wherever they are, that they don't walk away with just a plastic bag and some things dumped in them. that cannot be good for self-esteem.
Yes. And I just want to underscore the fact that, foster children, people who go through foster care, they deal with rejection to a great extent. And it's just so important for them not only to have the physical needs, and this is probably an aside, but also if they have any need for counseling or some type of mental therapy to assist them with navigating life based on their circumstances.
And that's so important. I lean on my church, Holy Trinity Church and Cultural Arts Center, which is right on Woodland. I lean on them heavily because we do have a clinical psychologist, we have a physician assistant, we have a caring ministry. Our First Lady is very involved in foster care. She has the daycare over at 4600. Is that Carnegie? Yeah, 4600 Carnegie. And so we have an opportunity to interact with those children, even those that are aging out, but for all ages, we have an opportunity to interact with them and show them some care and some understanding, some patience, and be able to help them physically with some of their needs. Okay.
I'm sure that there are folks out there who may want to give you a helping hand. So talk about some of the ways that our listening audience could get involved and contribute to the success of your organization.
Okay. Well, you certainly can contribute physically with household cleaning supplies or paper products, hygiene products, toiletries. We also have, if you want to donate, a washer, dryer, stove, refrigerator, or some of the smaller appliances like a toaster or microwave. But even the household things like dishes and glasses, pots and pans and utensils, and, of course, linen. We provide whatever is donated to us. And if you don't personally have those things or want to go up another notch, we certainly do accept financial donations. You can be specific about what you want it spent on, or it can just, if you prefer, it can just go into our general financial budget, and we can buy whatever we think is needed for the child at that time. Okay. Or the adult, because we do have children, adults, and seniors. So all of that is necessary.
Yes. And I also want to underscore the benefit of giving to an organization like Another Chance of Ohio. I've heard, and this may not be able to be substantiated, maybe so, but a lot of the donations that are made to organizations like Goodwill and the Salvation Army, there's this paradigm where the money doesn't get back to the community.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we sit in the community. We serve the community. A lot of people who come to us, even though they come from all around, there are a sizable number that walk here. We know the need because we personally know who is sleeping in their car. And so when we know it's winter or snowing or whatever, we make sure that we get things out to them so that they can be warm, protect themselves and their child. We also have a food pantry that's outside that never closes because we're open from 10 to 2, but people get hungry and need to eat before 10 o'clock, and they need to eat after 2 o'clock. That pantry is unlocked, and people can go in there and get their canned goods and free, even at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. I've heard my phone go off indicating that someone is in the yard. So that is helpful, that we know the community. Plus, I sit on the board of University Settlement, which is in the community, but I sit on different boards that are in the community, and so we have a relationship. And I think that's where some people are not involved in the community that they serve. They serve the community, and then they leave and go home, and they don't think about it until it's time to go back to work the next day.
Okay, so
that's not what you get here.
All right. So quickly, give us the website address and a phone number if you'd like to, and folks can reach out.
Well, I definitely want people to reach out, and I would love for you to reach out to 216-341-8733. Again, that's 216-341-8733. And because the name of the organization is Another Chance of Ohio, it's kind of easy to remember that our website is anotherchanceofohio.com.
Anotherchanceofohio.com.
That's it.
All right. Well, Barbara Anderson, thank you so much for joining me on the program today. And I certainly hope that there will be folks out there who heard the call to action and heed that call and make a difference. Again, thanks for joining us.
And I'm sure that they will. And I thank you again, Vince, for allowing me this opportunity to share with your audience.
Yeah, my pleasure. And to those of you who are listening, as always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and make today a great day. Peace.